I'm Fletcher Rhoden, and this is Quotes and Quips. Today on Quotes and Quips, words of wisdom from Oprah Winfrey. Quotes and Quips is brought to you by my website, FletcherRhoden.com. That's where you can find links to my author's page at Amazon.com. That's where you can buy my books in paperback or for Kindle, or in many cases, audiobook format. There's also a link at my website to my Spotify artist page. That's where you can peruse and download all my albums. I've got 4 albums in 2024 called Quadrilogy, a 4-album set. And coming up in 2025, a new pop album called I'm Possible. Now these are or will be available for download not only at Spotify, but anywhere across the internet. Wherever you like to download your favorite music, you can download mine. But at my website, there's free music you can only get there. So enjoy it. Oprah Winfrey, one of the great successes of the 20th century, tells us this: the whole point of life is to evolve into the person you were intended to be. The whole point of life is to evolve into the person you were intended to be. Well, she certainly lives and leads by example. And we can see that just by her career, her evolution is evident. There's another quote by Oprah that I'll be looking at in a later webisode, another edition of Quotes and Quips, but it's along the same lines. She certainly knew how to evolve into the person she was intended to be. It's easy enough to say that, hard enough, much harder to do it. It's hard to evolve. It's hard just to survive. A lot of people find it hard enough just to hold on to their integrity enough to remain the same, to remain uncorrupted. Forget about evolving. They're lucky to be who they are, and they just want to hold on to that. And that's a noble struggle. But there is another plane, and that is the change, that life is a process of growth and change, as I've said. And that, there are many quotes we look at. Life is about reinventing yourself. He not busy being born is busy dying, said Bob Dylan. It's important to take control of your life. The only part of your life, of any kind of facet of your life, the only thing you can really change is the inner life. The inner world, the world within. The world without is going to be largely beyond your control to influence. But you can lead by example by controlling the world within. This is what Oprah has done. And this is what Oprah speaks to in her quote, when she says the whole point of living is to evolve into the person you were meant to be. First of all, we look at this quote in 2 parts, as we often do. The whole point of being alive is evolving. Okay? So think of that as sort of a Darwinistic part of the sentence. The point of life is to evolve. Okay? Growth and change. That's a growth-minded mindset. That's growth mindset. Second part, into the person you were always intended to be. Interesting. This takes it away from Darwinism and brings it toward the spiritual, I would say. A kind of intelligent creator, if you will. Because who intended that? Who are the person you were intended to be? And who had that intent? Who or what had that intent? Clearly, a human being is not born fully realized. Our lives are spent gradually becoming whoever we wind up being. But this sentiment expresses a spiritual connection. That there is a person whom we all are intended by something else to be. And therefore we must be intended to do something else, to fulfill some greater purpose. And that purpose must surely have been designated by some higher being. Funny that we began this year and we're more or less rounding it off, thanks to Albert Einstein, to reconsider Ricky Gervais's notions of what exists and what doesn't, particularly God. So he would say God does not exist, and because he cannot be proven to exist. So Oprah would say, well, if you're evolving into the person you were intended to be, this surely implies the existence of some entity which had some intention and which designates some purpose. And that the purpose of life, which is a very lofty thing to identify, even for Oprah Winfrey, that the purpose of life is to fulfill that destiny, to fulfill that purpose, but only by evolving to the person you were intended to be can you fulfill that purpose for which you were intended. That makes sense, right? So Oprah starts off with a Darwinian kind of point of view. The point of life is to evolve. Then the second part takes it to the ethereal, to the spiritual, into the person you were intended to be. Now, we talked about growth mindset. The growth part is the evolution. But when we look at the second part of the sentence, crucial to its full meaning, we're intended to be. That's a fixed mindset. It's easy to think that the fixed mindset is the downer, the fatalist, and that the growth mindset is the bright, is the optimist and the forward thinking, and that this therefore is good and this therefore is bad. And it's an easy mistake to make. And actually, in large part, that's not a mistake. In large part, that's true, but not always. Because religion does have in it a fatalistic nature. That there is a plan, there is a divine plan, and God has intentions for us all, and a purpose for everyone, and a time and a purpose for everything under heaven. And that a lot of people who are fixed-minded simply take solace in that. And that, it's not by works, but by grace that we are redeemed. So that's a fixed mindset. It's not a destructive mindset. It's just a different mindset than the growth mindset, which presumes that it is upon deeds that we shall be redeemed, not by any particular grace. So Oprah, though, has got the thing more or less covered on both ends. Smart woman that she is. She knows that life is part human and part superhuman, part spiritual, part terrestrial. It is the flesh and the spirit. There's a dichotomy in life. And even in this modern day, when it's all hustle and bustle, and hearing from the woman who has mastered the bustle and the hustle and proven herself to be a force of great power in the previous century and in this one too, she knows. You want to take her word for it. Thanks for the words of wisdom, Oprah. Let's keep in mind the spiritual and the physical. That, there's evolution, but there's also greater intent. There is the earthly, and there is that which is beyond that which is earthly. The person you were intended to be. That points upward. To evolve, the purpose of life to evolve points like this. And in life, it behooves us all, I think Oprah reminds us, to look around and to look up. I hope I got that right. Oprah, if I'm wrong, if I missed the mark, let me know in the comments section. I'll be happy to hear from you. Everyone else, do the same. Also, tune in again in 2025. I'm going to be here every other Monday on this YouTube channel. In 2024, I was here every Monday at noon on this YouTube channel, but in 2025, I'm going to alternate this show with a brand new show called Fletcher Rhoden's Pet Peeves. Why? Well, who knows? You may share these pet peeves, and hearing me express them may encourage you to give them up and see how silly they are. Or you may realize that they should be added to your list of pet peeves. You can thank me for that one. In general, though, I think misery loves company. So we'll talk about that on alternating Mondays coming up in 2025, right here on this YouTube channel. There will also be reruns of my show from 2024, Quotes and Quips. Those weekly shows will remain posted. And my other show, Tracking the Lone Wolf, which ran 2023, is still up on its own YouTube channel right here on YouTube. It's called Tracking the Lone Wolf. That's the channel, and that's the show. It's based on my book, Tracking the Lone Wolf, the Sigma, at work, at home, and at play. You can get that in the three formats from Amazon.com. You can find the link on my website and other things too, so check that out. Tune in again for more programming, and until then, bye, Mary.